I'd like to introduce you to a YouTube channel that I stumbled across called Homemade Movies. Now, I found this when I was actually looking for the Mad Max trailer online, and I saw that somebody else had recreated the Mad Max trailer shot for shot with stuff that they'd found at home.
That is very good.
It's really good.
It's terrific.
It's quite cute. Now, everything that you see there, from the music, the special effects, the cars, that's all homemade. So I was pretty impressed. But then they really won me over when I saw the shot-by-shot comparison. It's amazing. Everything is absolutely perfect.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's so cute.
Really?
So cute,
yeah. No, the time that you would take to create something like that.
That's it. And they've got so many things on there. There's famous movie scenes. There's all sorts of stuff. It's wonderful. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Now, up until recently, Eurovision Song Competition was a pretty niche spectacle here in Australia. Like, people kind of knew what it was about, but they weren't entirely sure. The only thing I knew about Eurovision was that it launched the careers of both ABBA and Celine Dion, so I thought it must have been a terrible, terrible thing. But over the last few years, it really has exploded in Australia. I think that most of this has been because social media has come around and this has boosted its popularity. But I also think that much of the success of Eurovision telecast on SBS is due to the fact that they have gotten two of the loveliest people on television to host the event, and that is Julia Zemiro and Sam Pang, who are just so fantastic to watch on screen. They've been covering the competition since 2009. Now, at this year's competition, which is being held in Vienna, Australians will also be able to have their vote and opinion counted with the rest of the world. This is the first time that this has ever happened, and it's going to be huge, but not universally popular.
It was announced this week that when it comes to singing, Australia is apparently part of Europe. This is true.
Bad. Don't like it.
Why?
Because Australia, they're very competitive.
Yeah.
They ruin everything. Keep them out of the Eurovision Song Contest, keep them out of the World Cup. If I had my way, they wouldn't be allowed to compete for the Ashes.
I can understand that.
Yes, totally.
I don't know, do you think we're going to win? I actually heard Guy Sebastian, I don't even know if he's very confident. He said he's not weird enough, and I kind of agree.
I think there's something
After Conchita last year.
That's the thing.
I think, yeah.
And Guy's wonderful, and he's an amazing singer, but he's lovely.
I think that even though they're letting us in, they're not going to let it out of Europe.
I'd like to chat about another amazing YouTube channel that I'm really excited about called Art21. Now, basically, Art21 is a non-for-profit organisation focused on promoting contemporary art to a broad audience. They started with a series called Art in the 21st Century, which is currently in its 7th season with PBS.
I like this anarchic potential of colour. I see it very clearly that colour is actually taking away the boundary of the object. So there is no subject-object relationship anymore. And I think that's maybe what colour has the potential to make us think.
Since then, Art21 has built this really engaging collection of short films and documentaries, which are all up online. For example, you have New York Close Up, which is a series that gives you an intimate look at artists in the first decade of their career, living and working in the Big Apple.
I was really interested in kind of taking ownership of a few different materials, some things that I hadn't seen really employed in art objects that I could kind of essentially take as my own.
But then you also have the Art21 exclusives, where you get to see the work of more established artists in the 21st century. My particular favourite was a short film about an artist I've been intrigued with for a long time called Marina Abramovic, Embracing Fashion.
You see, getting all this fashion attention with the 65 is very different when you're doing it with 20. 20 somehow is natural. But now I'm 65 and I was on the cover of the V magazine in fashion. That's much more fun because it somehow, you know, boosts my confidence in myself, which I never had that much as a woman.
So the channel provides these wonderfully addictive and really great bites of culture. And the great thing about it is that if you start watching more of these clips, you can kind of retrain your YouTube into offering you more substantial suggestions on your homepage, so you don't just get stuck watching lots of cat videos, which I sometimes do get stuck watching.
Well, thank you very much. That was very educational, though. I still believe with Tom Stoppard that if it's on a wall, it's a painting, and if you can walk around it, it's a sculpture.
It's really great stuff, and you watch these 5 minutes about these artists, and then you just want to know so much more about them. It's really worthwhile taking a look.
That is the beauty of the interview. Tegan, thank you for drawing my attention to that.
Yes, thank you, Tegan, and thank you very much for joining us on screen.